Well, I'm done early again. What time is it? 3:20 and I'm done. Because my job heavily requires on import and export, and that's all to cock at the minute because of this megalomaniac Trump and his boyfriend Musk. So yeah, with tariff yo-yoing, nobody can send anything, no one can accept anything, the markets are volatile, it's just, man. So decided to weld another shit box because I had so much fun welding the Satso and it paid off. Well, I didn't have fun, but I spent all weekend welding the Satso and it was brilliant. On track on Monday. I'll put that footage up soon. This is another one of my cars. This is called the Pig. It's a Sierra. It used to be a diesel. I'm just welding on this. It needs a lot of welding, but well, not a lot, but a fair amount. But this thing's cool. It's one of my favourite cars, believe it or not. It looks a right mess because it's been under that bush all winter. So it's just been pulled out. We've literally just pushed it out from there now. It just wants a clean. You won't believe what this looked like 12 months ago. It was all polished and buffed. It looked mint. But this car lives outside, so this is what happens when it's outside over winter. Let's go through it then, shall we? The Pig. 1.8 sack of shit diesel. That's what it started life as. And about a little under 10 years ago, around 10 years ago, scrap geezer and all run me says, do you want to buy a Sierra? Well, I was breaking Sierras then, and I was breaking Mondeos, I was breaking Focuses, breaking everything basically. Breaking is in taking them to bits and selling the parts, not my usual trick of just wrecking them. But yeah, so he told me he had the Sierra, so went down and seen it in this front garden, and it had no engine. The engine was removed, the gearbox was removed, and there's a big gaping hole around the tunnel area. And what had happened is the person's cat had got stuck in the gearbox where the gear stick used to come through, and got his body stuck in it, and the fire brigade had to cut it out. And the bloke who owned it had just seen his arse and says, fuck it, I'm going to weigh it in. So we went and give him weighing money for it. I gave him 120 quid for this fabulous piece of shit. And it really was a piece of shit. It was rotten. We did a load of welding on it, but like I say, that was nearly 10 years ago. We were gonna break it. That was the plan. The plan was just to break it. We wanted the diff out of it. We wanted all the panels off of it, all the glass out of it, because I was selling all this stuff back then. And we had a race engine here, a Harris Pinto, that a customer had bought, and he wanted us to fit to a Mark 1 Escort. And you'll never believe this. You're going to think I'm making these stories up. The guy went missing. I sunk 10 grand of my own money into his car, and he went missing. He went missing for 6 to 9 months, and I'm just left with his car that I got 10 grand in, because he'd been paying the bills and everything was fine. He worked on oil rigs, so you know, he had the money and everything, and he was good for the money. I knew that. So I just kept going, and it ran up to about 10 grand. So it was about 10 grand I had of my own money in it, where I'd just been buying parts. You couldn't reach him because he was out in the middle of nowhere on these oil rigs. And you know, I just put the money in on his car, and then slowly sinks in that the guy's gone on the missing list. So his race engine from Harris, he had the top spec Harris Pinto, a top spec one. He had a printout for it, 220, something like that, the flywheel. They'd had it tested or something, bench tested. It was here, and it was about to go into the car we'd prepped. And, you know, I thought, this guy's done me for 10 grand, I hadn't seen him. So this was sat here. And back in them days, you used to have the Classic Ford show at Santa Pod, and I was pretty into the Santa Pod and drag racing. So I said, wouldn't it be funny to take this piece of shit down there, all rough looking and that, which it still is, and put this Harris in it? So that's what we did. We stripped it, put the Harris in it, the customer's Harris that he'd never even driven in his car, and screamed the nuts off it up Santa Pod all weekend. And then the plan was on the Monday when we got back, we were going to whip the engine back out of it and everything we put in and go weigh it in. That's what we were going to strip it and weigh it in. But we'd stripped it, you know, you'll see it in a minute how stripped it is. But we were going to continue to strip it because I'm upstairs here in this factory. I've got full engine bays and that where we gas axe the car up. I've got all kinds of stuff, got roof panels, got everything, rear quarters, so it really would have got dissected here. Anyway, I had that much fun in it at Santa Pod. I had loads of Pintos knocking about here, so I just stuck a normal Pinto in it. Not as good as with the Harris in it. Was great. It was lifting a wheel off the line, it was lifting a front wheel off the line. I got photos of it and it was running good times, really good times. And I just decided I wanted to keep it. So we stuck a shit engine in, but when I went taking it to a few tracks and skid events, it was weak, so I couldn't be bothered. So I ended up taking that engine out and I built a turbo Pinto up and I put that in it. Everyone said it wouldn't work back then. It's quite popular now, loads of people do it, but back then loads of people were saying it won't work and that, and they did it. It's been in it for nearly 10 years and it's never missed a beat. It's brilliant. But it was just a skid car for ages, and then last year I put gas gold suspension in it, so it's got £2,000 worth of suspension in it, that bag of shit. So it's really good, but the floor gave up. Just along the inside the car where it meets the inner sill, it just went there. They go on all Sierras. So yesterday, worked quiet, I decided to start doing it. I was on it this morning but ran out of gas, so, and it was raining, so you see I've built it up there. It's coming along now. That's tacked in. I've got a seam weld around that, and then it's gone here. Look, I've had a checker plate on the floor. I've had a checker plate on the floor for about 2 years. You can see straight through there to the floor. But yeah, I had to build the side up first to get some strength in it, because you could stand on the floor and it was going through. There's some welding. I did on it years ago. You can just make it out there. This is where the cat got stuck. Yeah, so I have another hour on this or something, and then I've got a bit of invoicing to do later upstairs for my work, so I'm cracking on with it. I've got a new OMP seat for this because it had an old Recaro in it, but it's pretty fast this now, and it handles well and everything, and that seat's just no good. So it's having an OMP bucket seat in it, a proper one. I have the same ones in all my cars. But yeah, I'll try and remember now from the other cars to show you stuff. I'm not going to have it run because I've got some stuff off it, but I'll start it tomorrow or something. But this is how it looks inside. Sparse, very sparse. There's no cage in this car, nothing, but I am planning one as it starts to develop and get a bit more serious. It's got a welded diff. This was for down the drag strip. What I've done is I put a lock line in my rear line, not in my front line. This is how I do it. At the drag strip, they'll put a lock line in the front circuit, press the brake, throw the lever, and the brakes will stay on, and they can do a burnout. Well, I like doing it with my foot, to be honest, but I don't like the back brakes being on. So what you do is you throw that lever and that turns the back brakes completely off. They're off now, and then you can do a burnout in the burnout box at Santa Pod or York, wherever we used to go with it, and you can just do a huge burnout standing on the brake. And then just need to remember then to turn that back, and then your back brakes work again. But it has a welded diff, and when I take it to a circuit, believe it or not, the welded diff slows it down on the corners. So a lot of the time I just turn the back brakes off and just use the front, and the actual welded diff works as a brake. Nothing fancy inside. Little firewall. This runs through the battery in the boot. No dashboard. That's gone. Like they say, we was drag racing it. We wanted it light. We did have it on the road briefly at one point. So that's how you controlled the lights. Because I left my dad under 10. I had a call for work, and I went answering that, and I left my dad unattended. And he used to do banger racing, and he got a bit spirited, and he really stripped it. So that's why it's so stripped. So moving on, because we're nearly at 10 minutes. bodywork will buff back up. We've got some holes in the outer sill now where I've been repairing it from the inside. We've got 2 small holes. Won't need to replace the whole sill, so I'll build it up from the inside first, and then I'll do these on the outside. I'm going to put my new seat in. I've got the frame I make. It had it's fully polybushed last January. Everything was polybushed. We took the wishbones off, we plated them up so they're reinforced, polybushed everything, put new brake lines on it everywhere, new hubs, everything, obviously new bearings and that, new brakes all round, just the whole thing, calipers, everything, the whole thing rebuilt, every line. This is where it's been stood under the tree. It looks fucking awful, but it's not as bad as it looks. It'll clean up. Like I say, it's called the pig. There's a pig. Right. Oh yeah, how do I open this boot now? Like that. Inside here, just had a new battery box put in. I've got a terminal that up yet. Fuel pump. Big tank like you have in a Mark 1 Escort. Second fuel pump, because it runs a swirl pot, because it's a skid car. Like I say, when I say skid it, I skid it, drift it and all that, so we need that. And then side mount exhaust, it's to stop rain going down it. That has, see that screw that you can put a baffle in that. It's not as loud as you'd think, but yeah, just a side exit exhaust. Remember, it was drag racing, it needed to just be light. There's pictures of this doing the rounds, and it's got Cosworth registration plates on. It's clearly not a Cosworth. It never was. I had the Cosworth and I chopped it up and never put it through the insurance, so the ID's off that. And the only reason it had ID on it is we're on an industrial estate here, and when I wanted to run it up the road, I just put the plate on it so we wouldn't get pulled, you see. It had a headlight in it then as well, but yeah, it's not a Cosworth. It was a 1.8 diesel. This is looking a bit tatty now because it's 10 years old, but that's the Pinto turbo. I've got a few of these in a few cars, and then I've got some built up on engine stands I can show you another time. I've got a proper one. This is just a standard EFI Pinto. It's got no forced pistons in it, nothing like that. And it runs about, it's never been on a dyno, but I'd say it runs about 200 brake. It runs 8 psi, and we run it with a touch of methanol in it for octane boost, because it's the timing's quite advanced in it. So we just do that because it just pulls like a train how it's set up at the minute. Yeah, that's a T3 turbo off a Cosy. That's an old, what are they called? Oh god, I can't think what they're called. The manifold. It's a cash job they used to be able to buy back in the day. I can't remember the name of it. It's not Turbo Technics, it's the other one. Jan Speed. Yeah, it's Jan Speed. Jan Speed turbo manifold, a cast one. But you got the luxury if you can buy them off eBay now. This needs rewrapping. It all fell off last year, so rewrap that. Yeah, it's just goes straight out the wing there, look. It's not that loud. When I start up and show you, it really isn't that loud, you'll be surprised. It's had all kinds of turbos on it, this. I've experimented a lot with this car and ran all different turbos. It used to have a Pinto in it and just run 100 shot of nitrous oxide too. It's got 2 nitrous oxide setups upstairs. We experimented a lot with nitrous oxide in it. So yeah, it's had a couple of turbo engines in. It's had a load of different turbos on it. We've had nitrous oxide running in it before. We've had race engines. We've had all sorts in this car. I think it's had about 4 engines in it while I've had it messing about. This thing's a beast. Put this one together about 15 years ago as an NA engine. It's not been apart since, and it's had that turbo attached to it for the best part of 10 years. I keep saying, don't let them tell you you can't do it, because they're judging you by their skills, not your own skills. intercooler's hanging off because it had some hideous brackets that were bent and it was drooping. So the only thing that's holding that intercooler up is the pipes it's attached to. So I'm going to make some brackets up and get that up. But I hope to have it out again this year and give it some real pain. But I am thinking about putting the other engine in it I've got built upstairs. Because the one I've built upstairs is got a Cosworth crank. It's a Cosworth block basically, with a Cosworth crank, Cosworth rods, Cosworth pistons. Then the heads and head and block have been decked just right to get the compression right. And it's got my Brands Hatch Performance turbo cam, profile cam, turbo profile cam. Basically that one upstairs, I know two lads that run the same spec engine with the same ECU and that I have, and the same cam, and they're both running around. They've got them in Capris. They've both made just over 350 on the rollers at the flywheel. So, you know, if we throw it in here, we'll be having a 40% hike in power. But then what do we do with this one? I suppose I have to find another car to put this one in, won't I? But yeah, this is the pig. Meet the pig. One of the most beautiful rock boxes you'll ever see. Everywhere it goes, it gets smiles and stuff. People love it. You see, it's been, them tyres there, it's been drifting, ripping up tyres. It's killed a lot of tyres, this car. Killed a lot of tyres. But yeah, it's really good. It's a lot of fun. I'll carry on with the welding. I mean, I could just video all that, but do you really want to fucking see that? It's a bit boring. Everyone does it, don't they? So I'll just keep doing it the way I'm doing. I'm not trying to win a popularity contest or nothing. Just, don't know. Just like documenting what I do. I used to do it all on Facebook, but I fell out of love with Facebook. It's shit, basically. And the people on it, I don't know, just can't be doing with them. But I kind of like the YouTube ecosystem. I kind of like it. So I just keep posting stuff on in here. And if people want to see it, they want to see it. And if they don't, I don't care. At least I've got it all saved in a place I can go back and look at it, Anna. But people probably will find it interesting. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind dropping this engine in the pop. It'll go straight in, because I told you the pop's a Sierra really underneath the shell. It'll fucking fly with this in. Yeah, there you go. The pig getting welded, putting it back on the road. Satso's all good. On the Satso front, I ordered polycarbonate rear window, polycarbonate rear side windows, and my yellow stuff pads I always use. I ordered them 10 days before the track day, and guess what? It all came on the day of the track day. So I've got polycarbonate windows to fit to the back of that, and then switch my brake pads around, because I had to use a roll compound the other day, which was interesting. It's not as good as using a light race compound, is it? It's not as good. But yeah, meet the pig. There's the pig. You'll see it soon. I'll have it running. In the next video, I should have all this welding done, and I'll get them battery terminals on it. We'll give it a start up, and you can have a listen to it run and have a look at it run. And hopefully it'll be out at the track soon. I've got another track day. I was out on Monday, and I'm going Kerbra Sprint on Friday. So if anyone's about up Kerbra Sprint ways, I'll be over there. And I haven't settled on what I'm going to run yet. I mean, this is already loaded on, and it's already good. We know it's good, so we could use this. But I've got another little something up my sleeve. But that would mean showing you another car. So yeah, I'll just keep showing them, yeah. Because I've got about, I don't know, I own about, I'm embarrassed to say this, but I own about 50 cars, something like that. But it's my life. I make it my life. Any spare time I get, I'm on it. I'm not interested in football or going to the pub or I don't even like holidays. I'm not interested in any of that shit. I just love being up to my eyes in rust and pure bollocks. I'm a glutton for punishment. Anyway, nice to chat to everyone. I just thought, you know, it's alright this work being quiet and I can keep doing this, but I need to earn some fucking money. But yeah, we'll see if things pick up. But yeah, that's it. Over and out. Signing off. Bye bye.